guys, name's Tim, Motion Your First Class, and we are back in After Effects for part 2 of getting started. Okay, now check out the previous video if you want to just kind of, if you're totally new and just want to get into keyframing and moving stuff around. This one's more for like after you've done that, after you got the lay of the land. Here's another 10 minutes just getting you started, getting you rolling. Quick tips and tricks that I wish I'd known when I first got started. Okay, but consider supporting me by downloading one of my fonts in the description. And well, let's get rolling. All right, y'all. In the last video, we made this pretty weird starfishy flowery thing. And we got through with the very basics, the Quickstart stuff. This video is a little bit more geared towards people who have animated and just want a little bit more, I don't know, quick tips and tricks to sort of help get it rolling, get it feeling better, faster. Okay, so part of that's hotkeys, part of that's just navigation and time and all that fun stuff. Okay, so with that said, one of my favorite buttons and the one I use probably most, and this, you probably laugh if you know anything about this, is page up and page down. It doesn't do a lot, but it moves one frame in time. Now the first things you're gonna ask is, hey, what's a frame? Good question, Billy. Okay, a frame is one moment in time, right? In fact, if I were to select this thing, you'll see each one of these little ticks on my timeline is a frame, is a moment in time. Okay, so if I were to increase these or drag these keyframes closer together, where did it go? There you go. You'll see they're much farther apart because they're going a lot faster. And if I were to bring them much further apart, you'd see that they're much closer together, meaning that it's taking less time between frames. Okay. Now in the timeline here, we have 24 frames that makes up a second. That creates smooth animation, but you can change that. You can adjust your composition settings to be 12 frames, 10 frames, 5 frames, and you can get really stuttery, more stop motion looking stuff. Okay, and you can even go higher frame rates, although it's usually not done because we're trying to get the maximum smoothness with the least amount of work. Okay, and that's where 24 strikes a nice balance. Okay, so what else? So back to page up, page down. If I don't have a keyboard or I just have a laptop that doesn't have page up, page down, or a smaller keyboard, just know that you can use this stuff up in the corner. Here is one frame forward, okay? Another thing I like is shift page up into page down, which gets me 10 frames at a time. So it's almost like what would that be? Almost a little more than a third or almost a half second each time. Gets me through the timeline faster. And I can also do that up here in the top right corner. Just by holding shift, I can jump 10 frames at a time. Okay, I also love on my keyboard a home and end, which gets me to the beginning and the end of my composition. And again, up at the top, we have the ability to go to the home or to the end of my composition quickly. Okay. In addition to that stuff, we have our work area. So I think in the last video, I may have accidentally adjusted this. But the work area is kind of great. If I only have, in this case, I have 2.5 seconds of animation. If I hit play, I might have to wait until it gets all the way to the end, which is another 2.5 seconds just before it animates again. And that's annoying, right? And that's why that's where this adjusting this work area is handy. If I just want to see this section, even if I plan to eventually animate here, it's just nice to be able to work on just one area at a time. Now, if I hit spacebar over here, it will still play out till the end. But I think once it starts again, it should stop at the thing and just repeat. Oh, so then it didn't. So be inside of the work area when you hit spacebar, and it should stay inside of that work area. Okay, more hotkeys for you. B starts my timeline, or starts my, what is this thing called? My work area. N on the keyboard is for the end. So B and N are handy for just quickly bracketing off that area that you need. Okay, there's also a way to zoom in. Like, we're not always going to be working in 5-second chunks here. So the ability to hit plus and minus with this thing selected allows me to zoom into different parts of the timeline, especially when it gets crowded with keyframes. It's nice to be able to zoom in and zoom out. There's also this mountain range here that allows me to zoom in and zoom out there if you forget that plus minus option. Okay, and this little grabber is also zooming in and zooming out in the same way. Okay. So I think we're pretty close here. I just want to show you two last things. After Effects has a million effects, right? You'll need to select a layer, and you can come up to this effects thing and find all of them. There's just too many, right? And I've got some that are installed here, but there's just a lot, and it's hard to find stuff. So one of my favorite panels or palettes that I use a lot is this effects and presets panel. It allows me to search for stuff. Like, for example, one of the things I use a lot is a fill. You wouldn't think you would, but my buddy Phil here, I can drag onto the layer, I could drag onto the layer, I could drag, or I could double click with a layer selected, and it will apply that to him, and then I can adjust the color or anything like that, okay? Let's talk about the effects controls. So you may say, hey man, where did my project window go? Well, it's still here. I don't know why I have two of those. But I've got two, I've got an effects control now, and I got a project window, and it just saves me on space, but don't get confused by that. I can delete things and delete effects from there, and I can even drag effects into there, and it'll apply to that layer. Okay, but why am I showing this? Because this is the joy of After Effects, right? That we can kind of experiment and stuff. I mean, there's so many things in here, I don't even know what this is. So if I want to glow, look at all the different glows I can add, right? But in my case, I'll just grab the default one because you probably have the same. I can up the glow intensity on it. Pink, green doesn't look great, but maybe the radius, maybe something else. This is looking kind of gross. Oh man, maybe it just needs to be lighter. Okay, but this is where After Effects kind of gets fun to kind of mess around with, although you wouldn't know it because it's not working for me right now. I think I was dragging it into the wrong place. So anyways, the normal way to do this would be to select the thing and just double click it or drag it onto the layer itself. And you see now that it should be working better. There we go. What else? Okay, last thing I want to show you guys is easing, because this is a little bit robotic, right? And that might be nice, but I don't really like how it's starting, and I don't really like how it's stopping. Okay, so let me go ahead and scale this down so you guys can see the difference. So, and I'll grab my position keyframes with hitting P. I'll select all of them by holding the position, and I'll just move this whole piece up. And then let's go ahead and duplicate this, Command D. And I'll go ahead and move this whole thing down. Okay, so I'll have on the top will be our original, and then I'll show you easing here on the bottom. Okay, so one of my favorite hotkeys of all time is the U key on the keyboard, and that allows me to hide and show all of my keyframes and nothing else. And it looks like I hit it too fast, and so you can see how cumbersome this might be on a small screen. But with that U key handy, I can whack U all the time and just hide everything. Okay, so let's get it easing out and easing in. So I'm just going to select all my keyframes. I'm going to right click them. I'm going to go to this keyframe assistant, and I could just ease everything really. But just in case you care, we ease out of moves and then we ease back into moves. So, but for my cases, since I'm going to both sides, keyframe assistant, easy ease. And let's look at the difference between the top and the bottom. So you see how much more dynamic that bottom one is, because it allows me to basically slow in to the move and slow back out of the move. Those of you guys who are familiar with 3D applications, some of this stuff is built in automatically. Here in After Effects, we kind of have to add it, and it's not default. Okay, all that is the basics of what I want to show you about quick starting into After Effects. You're ready to go forth and make something beautiful. Let me know what questions you have, and we'll see you next time. All right, y'all, if this quick start helped, please consider liking and subscribing. Okay, we'll check you next time.